Welcome to the Empowering Transformation series, How to Release Stress and Past Trauma, Have a Peaceful Mind, and the Power to Move Forward. I'm Lori K. Coleman, and today with me I have Beth Banning, and I'm so thrilled to have her. She is a best-selling author and motivational speaker that has supported people in creating a life and businesses that are conscious, internally sourced, and that support a world that works for everyone. She has co-authored The Art of Consciousness Connection, Love on Purpose, and The Pathway to Personal Freedom, and is also the co-creator of the Gibson Banning Method Coaching Certification Program. Welcome, Beth. I'm so happy to have you with me today.
Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here.
I remember meeting you through the quickening movement that Jennifer Lamprey did and choosing to opt into the coaching program there. It was quite life-changing for me, and you were very instrumental for that. And I thank you for the work that you do to help people gain this new freedom and connection within.
Thank you.
You're part of why I can do this, Beth.
Yeah, and always, it's a privilege and an honor to be part of your journey. So, yay, I was so glad to be able to support you in that way.
Yes. Well, thank you. Well, I would like you to begin by talking about what is a life priority code. What does that mean?
Okay, so I'm going to have to kind of do the abbreviated versions because obviously I can't give you 18 weeks of a course in a little bit of time, but we use the life priority code as the way some people would use core values, but we use a different languaging for two reasons. One is we believe that you come into this life with very specific experiences that you're meant to have, okay? And that's why we call it the life priority code. And we use values because that really is the experience in words, right? So we have to have words for what it is we're trying to experience. And once we understand, again, as we call it, life priority code, then it's easier to look for those ways to experience those values. So your life priority code is specific to you. It's not like, everybody has the same life priority code. And it's an exploration. It's not like you can do a quick, and this is the other reason we don't say core values, is because you kind of develop or work into your life priority code, right? You can't just take one core value worksheet and all of a sudden they're your life priority code. So we change it, the languaging, so people don't go, oh, this is it, and then they give up the journey to discover the code. So your life priority code are values, value words. And so it can be anything at that point. But one thing I want to differentiate, you have to understand before you even start exploring the idea of your life priority code, is the difference between values and the idea of strategies. And strategies is how you get to experience what you want, right? It's the doing part. The values are the experiencing part. And most other models that delve into values, some of them in our model are strategies, they're not values. So in some, you'll see control or money or things like that we don't consider values. So again, just to simply answer your question, a life priority code are those values that you're meant to experience to have the fullest, most satisfying life that you can have.
Yeah. And at first I thought my values were like peacefulness and contribution and understanding. My whole life I wanted to help other people. I wanted to understand things at a very deep level, but I also wanted to keep the peace. And I learned that my need for peace was keeping me from the growth because I valued the peace so much.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know that at the beginning of this process. And I remember times I'm like, okay, well, I care about peace, so I'm going to try and live in peace. And I would notice when I wasn't. So like if I get really frustrated at the computer, which I often would, I'm like, am I living in my values right now? Nope. So I'm going to go choose a different activity because this activity is not helping me have the value of peace. And then I'd go find that peace somewhere else.
Now you've said a couple of things that I would love to dig into around this, because so peace, and so many of us will be able to relate this desire for peace, right? So there's a difference between your life priority codes and values that might be important to you in the moment. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. So we can have a life priority code of, expansion and joy and love, say, and in the moment, we want peace. Now they don't, like, they aren't, like, you can't, how do I want to say this? So you can at the same time want peace and have your life priority code be different values. Mm-hmm. So we all have all the values in us. Like they're all there. One of the things my husband and we did a lot of couple work in the early days. And we heard all the time, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times we heard, well, our values are just in conflict. Well, your values are never in conflict. And this is a big thing. People go, yes, they'll fight us on it, right? Mm-hmm. But it isn't your values that are in conflict, because what I'm saying is they're all there. They just pop up as more important at different times in different situations. So they're always there, all of them. But so at one point, your husband could have the value of, excitement, and you could have the value of peace at the same time. It doesn't mean your values are at conflict. They're just this idea of how you're going to get what's most important to you in the moment is different. How you're going to get them. So it's those strategies again. Yes. It's how you're going to get it. So if you come down to the fact that you have all these values and at different times they're important for different reasons, then you can get down to the values and come up with strategies that work for everyone. Mm-hmm. So going back to this idea of peace for you and realizing it wasn't your life priority code value, but it pops up a lot, Yes. Then you can, like I was saying, if you look at values and your life priority code as more as an exploration and a journey, not a like definite destination you have to get to have a beautiful, satisfying life, then the whole idea becomes more fluid and you can, play with it and enjoy it and really start experiencing what you want in the moment. Because this is probably the most important thing I will say during this interview is life happens now, right now. Not tomorrow, not 10 minutes from now, not next year, but life happens now. So if you can really get what is most important to me now and experience it, you've got the life you want, because here is where life happens. Here is where life happens.
Yeah, yeah. Your words brought up a story, and I share a couple very personal stories during the summit, and here's one.
There's another. Awesome.
Just out there.
Yeah.
So I had the value of connection. I wanted to connect with my husband in a deeper way. And so I knew all the kids were going to be gone. And I was about to drive my daughter somewhere. And I said, hey, sweetie, do you have time to connect with me? And, and he's like, no, I'm going to go work in the garden. And so his value in that moment was accomplishing something. Mm-hmm. We live in Phoenix, getting out early in the day. He had his reasons for wanting what he wanted. And so what I chose, with me not being able to get my value of connection fulfilled by my husband, then I took my daughter to her activity and I stayed there and chose to get my value of connection with the women that were there and fill my need in that way. And then later I went to my husband and I said, sweetheart, I want a marriage that's not just comfortable, but one that is filled with vitality. And he's like, oh, what does that mean? I'm like, I want to connect with you. I want to have joy in that connection. And I painted this picture of what I want. And he's like, oh, that sounds nice.
I can do that, right?
I can do that.
Right.
You know, and then he would sit and we'd sit on the couch. And then I found he's not really very comfortable to sit on the couch with because he likes to slouch. And then I slouch and then it hurts my back. And I'm like, oh, this is really fun. And so I finally had to say, would you feel comfortable connecting with me if we just lay down? And it's nothing more than just laying down and talking, but I can truly be comfortable in my body. I didn't realize how much important the value of comfort and ease to me. I want things comfortable and I want things easy. Oh my goodness. And I used to feel bad about those values. I'm like, obviously that is wrong. That's called lazy. That's called selfish. That's no.
You know, again, Lori Kay, there's so many things in the story that are so important to point out. The first one is that really, especially with couples and everybody, is that we have this idea that we have to get our needs met from one particular person. And if we can't do that, then it's a problem. And so I just love that you realize, see, and this is the power of values, right? When you realize that it's the experience you want and you can get it multiple ways, it's not just one strategy, then you had the choice to go and get it from the women at your daughter's, event. And then the other thing I just love is that you went, wait, one of the ways I want connection is with my husband. We believe that people, like, it's better that if they come up with the idea than if we ask. Now, this is a very old cultural thing that somehow that our asking is selfish and, it's a problem that if we have to ask, they aren't as attentive, they don't know us. I mean, we make up so many stories about this idea of us just asking for what we want. So that you went home and you said, this is what I want. And I love that he said, what does that mean? Because this is he
had no clue. He really had no clue.
Of course he had no clue, because what you mean by connection and what 10 other people mean by connection could be totally different things. Yes. And this other thing people have to get even about values, right? Is that it isn't universal. What that word means to you is not universal for everyone. So that he asked is a beautiful thing, because what happens often is, right, you say, oh, I want connection. And then the person goes and gives you connection the way they mean connection, right? So it's the difference. And I love this because the golden rule, right, is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Well, I consider the platinum rule is do unto others as the way they would like it done unto them. Right? So you have to know, I mean, isn't that a gift when somebody says to you, what would that be for you? So I can give it to you the way you want it, right? The way you want it. So that, and he may or may not have had that intention, but it's such a beautiful thing that he asked, what does that mean to you, right?
Yeah.
And you could explain what it meant, and you sat on the couch and you did that thing. And then what I love, the next thing, is that you went, wait, this isn't quite it, right?
No, it's not.
You have to, and that's why this whole idea of life priority codes and values is an exploration. It's an exploration. So you got to sit on the couch with this willing participant, right?
And it's just like,
right? But when you asked and he agreed, and then you can explore.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I don't
know. Oh, now you're back.
Oh, okay.
How fascinating.
I don't know what happened. I can turn it up a little.
Okay, so when you ask.
When you ask, then you get an agreement, then you're in exploration mode. And it's an adventure. What a fun thing to happen. So then you got to see, well, ease and comfort. Oh, wait, that's part of how I can connect in a way that's really satisfying for me. So the story just demonstrated so many beautiful points. So thank you for sharing.
Let's see. I had another thought and it just went.
Yeah, I know.
I try and focus on what you're saying, and so I don't hold on to my thoughts. I'm like, no, go away. I'm focusing on this. What was it? Well, it almost came again. I want you to, can you talk about some of the different values so people can understand what the values, just some different values that can even be out there.
Sure. And, you know, we have a values list. You're welcome, like anybody that wants it is welcome to have it. So
okay.
And so you have it. You're welcome to share it with everyone.
I will put that as your free gift. I honor people's programs and will only share what I know 100% is safe for me to share.
You are more than welcome to share that. And this isn't, the one that you'll receive is not an exhaustive list.
Okay.
It is a list that we put together to give you some sense of value. So like you said, peace, comfort, joy, I don't have the list in front of me. Oh, wait, you know what? I do have a list right here. So adventure, fulfillment, boldness, courage, confidence. I mean, these are all, you could probably name 1,000 words that are values in this model. Again, in this model, we consider values things that are less strategies and more values. But I'll show you how to differentiate the difference. But I saw that you had something. Did you want to say something?
I just wrote down courage. I have a story about courage, but keep going.
So how you know the difference between a value, what we call a value in this model, and perhaps what other people call values is, you say, and let's use control for an example, because I've heard, especially in the realm of intimate relationships, well, he just values control, right? So what I want you to do to really discern whether it's a value or a strategy is if you say, well, if you had control, what would you experience? Okay, so if it's a strategy to experience something, and the something is the value. So just as an example, so if you had control over your environment, situations, what would you experience?
I would experience safety.
Right, and some people might experience peace or security or something more like that. Now you can dig down on some of these things that we do call values and get to what we call higher level values. So with safety, again, we're so programmed to like be looking for, you know, lions and tigers and bears to jump out at us at any moment from kind of a primal place, yes, you know, because we used to have lions and tigers and bears that we had to worry about, right? But now we don't. We really don't. And we're a whole bunch safer than we think we are, right? We have very little physical danger, very little. And what most of us call safety at this point is this emotional danger, right? Mm-hmm. So when that's the issue, to dig down underneath the safety to see what it is you really want to experience is so powerful, because that's what gives you life. Having safety, you know, if you're just being safe, that's not much of a life. Do you know what I mean? So let's just dig underneath safety. So if you had a sense of complete safety, what would you be able to experience?
If I had complete safety, I think that would give me the peace.
Peace for sure, right? And you know, when I kind of just sat with it, if I had complete safety, I'd be able to experience joy. Joy. You know, it's like I wouldn't have to worry about anything. I was just able to, you know, or being carefree, right? Because I'm not like always worried about who's doing what and am I safe. So, you know, peace and joy and being carefree. I mean, that's way more life, right? That's
Yeah.
way more life. So if you find these values that you go, well, it doesn't feel expansive, right? Then dig a little deeper. Dig a little deeper. And the line is, if you had that, what would you be able to experience? If you had that, what would you be able to experience? And that'll really get you underneath it to something more juicy.
And when you get to that juicy part, do you take that and put like in a center of a web and think of all of the ways that you can receive?
Well, this is one of the exercises in the course, you know, to really show you that you can see the like beauty of getting to values and not strategies. And that's, you know, one, you know, all these things that we teach in the course. The beauty of that is because there is multiple ways to experience a value, a pure value, multiple ways. Strategies, right? It's like, he needs to do this for me in order to experience that. Then if he doesn't do that, you're kind of like out of luck, right? But if you realize, just like you did with your connection thing, if you realize that the value you can experience in multiple ways, then your life opens up. Then your life opens up. So one of the things that I say, so let's just do kind of a little formula for everybody.
Okay.
And that'll really help, like, just to go play with this, right? So another distinction we have in the course is discomfort as an alarm. So let me explain what distinction means, first of all, because a lot of people don't understand it in the way we use it. So a distinction is a difference between one thing and another, right? And what happens is, usually we have a belief, and we have one belief, and this is how you do it, and this is the only way I can do it. And when we distinguish one thing from another, then you have two choices. And the Gibson Banning method is all about making conscious choices. That's what
it's
about.
And the freedom, it gives so much freedom. Oh my gosh, I love the freedom.
Right?
I'm just like, I'm free.
So much freedom in consciousness, right? So what we do is, there are, I think, over 35 different distinctions in the course. And what we're doing really is just opening up a new choice. And we as human beings go for what works best. That is our, like, that's where we flow, right? And when we see another choice that works better than the one we've been choosing, the only one we thought we had, then all of a sudden our life starts working. And this is the beauty of distinctions. You don't have to work at it, because as soon as you see a new choice, you can't unsee it. It's there for you now. And as I said, our psyche just wants to go to what works better. So if you try it a couple times and it works better, then you just start going towards that choice automatically. There's no like, I have to, you know, think a different thought, whatever it is, right? All the different techniques. This is, you just start doing it, you know, because, oh, that choice just works better, right? So that's what a distinction is just differentiating one thing from another. So another distinction in the course is discomfort as an alarm, right? So the choice we usually have with discomfort is just being uncomfortable. You know, we're just uncomfortable. We have to get comfortable. We have to find a way to be comfortable, right? So the choice now is using discomfort as an alarm. It's a gift, right? So the difference is discomfort, being uncomfortable with it, or using it as a gift. It wakes us up that something we need to get conscious, right? So as soon as we notice we're uncomfortable, okay, and I'm going to skip a few different things out of the course because there's just too many, but how you can play with values is go notice your discomfort and ask yourself, what's missing for me in this situation? What's missing? And the missing thing you're looking for is a value. So make sure you get the values list from Lori Kay. Look at the list, right? Take that list. Here's a whole dang list of values, right? So you take the list, you look at it and go, so in this situation, I'm uncomfortable. What's missing? Well, maybe clarity. Maybe I just don't understand what's going on in the situation, right? So you pick a value and then you say, what are one or two little things I can do in this moment? Remember, life is in this moment. What are one or two little things I can do right now to experience that value? So say it's clarity and I realize, well, I just don't understand what's going on here. Go ask. go get the clarity you need. You know, if it's adventure, go take it. You know, what's a little step that you can experience that? If it's courage, what's one little thing you can do to experience courage? Whatever it is, just take one little step. So it's simple little formula, right? Discomfort as an alarm, stop. What's missing for me in this situation? Take out your values list, pick one or two little values. One is even better for this little exploration, and go, what's one or two little things I can do right now to experience that value?
Yeah. You know, Beth, that is a beautiful little exercise. But part of me, I'm just like, we have got to talk about the focuses that we have about ourselves and other people. It's because we can feel uncomfortable because of these programs that we have in our mind, and it has nothing to do with the reality of the situation.
It's true.
What are some of the common focuses that people have about themselves?
So let me explain why. Again, we changed some languaging from familiar languaging because we want people to look at it a little differently, right? Mm-hmm. So in the personal development, spiritual development world, you may have heard of core beliefs, right? Core beliefs. And this really is a core belief, but we call them focuses because we believe that you focus on them. And that's what you're looking for in your life. You have these blinders on. So you have this belief that developed when you were a child, and it has to be pretty young they get developed, right? And what happens is something happens and you make it mean something that then causes you to act in a certain way, and then causes the situation to go in a certain way, and then reinforces the original belief. So you have to understand that these focuses aren't necessarily the truth, but there's something, I mean, it could have been as a child, they will seem like the truth, mm-hmm. like something where your mother told you were stupid, right? Now I've heard this, like my mother said I was stupid. Well, yes, in that moment, you can understand why that child made it mean that I am stupid, but now you're an adult. Is it true that you're stupid? Is that the truth of that belief? Or is it just something that your mother said, it took in as the truth? And now when it says as an adult, again, our course is just about getting conscious and making conscious choices. You can say, wait, I can see how I made that mean that. You get to love that baby up inside of you and go, no, that's not the truth for me at this point in my life. And then again, you get to make a conscious choice about how you want to live, because we are living unconscious in these core beliefs or focuses, we call them, and they create our life. They create our life. So the typical ones, to answer again your question specifically, are, I'm not good enough, I don't matter, all those, I'm not safe, I can't take care of myself. I mean, there's dozens.
I'm alone, I'm not powerful,
exactly.
Or I'm powerless, I'm helpless.
Right. So there's dozens of them, and again, in the course, we give you kind of a cheat sheet of some of the more common ones.
Right.
But again, the point is to then get conscious, because nothing transforms unless you're conscious, nothing, right? If it's unconscious, then you just go about your business, keep creating the same life and the same cycles over and over and over again. So once you, learn how to discover this in you, and then learn, and, we use values and intention and all that as a, antidote for the focus. But again, it's a journey. It's not necessarily, excuse me, I don't know if you can hear the construction.
Yeah, I can.
There it is again. I have lots of construction going on here. Then you can transform your life in every moment. And like I said, the most important thing I'm going to say today, and I'm going to say it again, is life happens right now. So if you can identify the focus, discomfort as an alarm. Oh, wait, that's that belief that's driving me crazy, that old belief. And what is it that's missing for me in this moment? What value do you want to experience? again, your life just opens up, because that's where life is, in those experiences that are most important to you.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. And I remember back a little ways ago, I had the word courage. You said courage.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have all of these kind of focuses running on in my head. And then I make these beliefs about other people not being safe, and that my needs don't matter, or that they're demanding, and all these other things, which may or may not be true, but it's the way I perceive them. And I remember,
I have to say, they're not true.
they sure seem true.
But they do. And I just wanted to make that differentiation, because they're actually not the truth.
Right.
It's just all of what we're making up. So I just had to clarify.
Yes, no. Thank you, Beth.
What do I do? What can I tell you?
So I remember a time that I felt like, I'm like, all right, I'm going to live in the value of courage, and I'm going to talk to my husband. And so I was coming from this place of courage, but then I realized through the coaching that I needed to be more into a place of, I want understanding to happen for everyone. Because if I had this value of courage, it'd be like this, oh, I'm this, and I have to boom, 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 and force, and let me be courageous and open my mouth. And it's this whole different energy behind it. And then when I tweaked it to, oh, I want to have the value of understanding, not only for me, but for you too. But we have this conversation, and we had a beautiful conversation. Beautiful. I'm like, oh.
And it's funny because, and that's why you're talking about on our intention sheet, it says, when you get to your intention, it says for everyone involved, right?
Everyone
involved. And you can even do that with courage, right? If it was courage and understanding and whatever else, we usually ask for 3 values. It was like, okay, I'm going to have courage, but I want to be open for them to have courage too. Now that softens you right away, right? Because it's not like me, I have to have courage.
I forgot that part in the coaching. I was just doing it for me.
But again, to open it up to everybody involved is very powerful. And that's
that's what we need. Yeah.
Because if you're open to courage in the conversation, then you also are like going, okay, what do you need to be courageous here, and say what's important to you? And it changes everything, right? So just what you're saying is that for everyone involved is a very powerful statement, because it takes you out of having to control and make things happen. And it like brings it, on our, one of the things Neil and I always said, it's like we go from us against them to we, right? It's no longer.
How do we get out of that us against them? Because there's so many different opinions the way things ought to be, and if you value and it's not happening the way you want, how do you work with that ball of wax?
Well, first it's practice, right? And it's continually getting conscious. That's really what it is. So, I mean, we use discomfort as an alarm on a regular basis. The very first thing everybody needs to do is get conscious. So if you're going to practice from anything long-term, you start noticing when you're uncomfortable. Start noticing every single time you're uncomfortable. It's an opportunity to get conscious and choose. So start just, like really, like looking forward to your discomfort, right? We are such
I like ease. I like joy.
I know, but see, this is the funny thing, right? I want ease. Well, how long have you been uncomfortable? I'm telling you, once you start going, okay, discomfort's not a bad thing, you will have ease so much faster than trying to push that discomfort away.
Yes. No, I have worked so hard on pushing discomfort away.
You and the rest of us, right?
Yeah. And then I feel guilty for the times that I want to have the ease. But now, if I want to have ease, I'll be like, I'm choosing to lay in front of the TV and watch this show because I'm choosing the value of ease, and it is okay,
right?
No guilt.
That's all there is. The only difference there is consciousness.
Yeah.
Consciousness and choice is the only difference, which is like miraculous. Those two things get
And that gives me the extra peace, knowing that I'm choosing this and I'm giving myself the liberty to be able to experience this thing that I value. And I do try and connect it with connection with my children. I'll sit and watch a show with them or Scott. I used to not watch TV at all. I used to get physically ill in front of the TVs. It was like the vibes coming off of it just made me, my body being sensitive, that whatever energy comes off of electronics really
wow.
I had to do a lot of healing for myself.
And it's okay to like not watch TV too, you know?
No, and that's where I was at for a long time. But once I healed myself and then could connect that way, but then I felt lazy.
Well, see, those are the beliefs that keep you unconscious and in habit. But if you like go, wait, this is about lazy? Wait, that's a story. That's uncomfortable. And wake up and start choosing. Then you can, no, I really want some ease right now. I just want to rest. And I'm going to do that with TV, or I'm going to do that by sitting outside and reading, right? And when you're able to choose, just like you're saying, the guilt goes away because you're choosing it.
And then you're in more peace.
And then you're in more peace. And then you have more energy to go do those things, other things you want to do. It's not like you don't want to do those other things, but we really do need to take care of ourselves. Yeah. You know, we are not super people. We really aren't. We're super people, but in a whole different way. You know, we really need to like restore and give ourselves what it is that our intuition is telling us we need.
Let's dive into there. Intuition. Okay. I know we teach 3 ways to get into that inner guidance aspect. Can you kind of just, whatever you feel comfortable sharing?
We teach this a little differently than many, many models. So we have this idea of freedom channels, right? Mm-hmm. And so what it is and you've heard of it, and that's why you hear it all the time. So it's mind, body, spirit, mind, body, spirit. And the reason is if you can line those 3 up and they're working the way they're meant to, which is a constant flow between them, your life, you would be in flow all the time. That's, you know, you would know exactly where you're stepping, where you're going. It would be flow. But what happens is culturally, we've been taught that everything has to be done up here. You know, our mind is all powerful and supreme, right? So it cuts us completely off from our intuitive nature. Now, one of the things that I know about how most people, including myself for many years, felt about intuition was that if I got an intuition, it would give me an answer that would solve my problem. Okay. So the distinction here, remember there's different choices. So the distinction here is the difference between intuition and fortune telling.
Okay.
A fortune teller will go, okay, this year this is going to happen and you should go do this and this will make this happen, right? It's telling you how to get that goal out there. With intuition, what I have learned over many years is that intuition is a moment-to-moment thing. When you get connected and you can line up, even if you're not totally lined up, it's still a moment-to-moment thing where you can go, okay, what is it that I need to do? It will only give you your next 1 or 2 little steps. Then you have to check in again. And it's not like it's going to, and people go, oh my God, my intuition doesn't work because what they got didn't lead them all the way to that thing they thought they wanted, right? So all of a sudden their intuition doesn't work and then they don't trust themselves. Like how many people do you know that don't trust themselves? I didn't trust a thing that I felt or saw or for so many years, I can't even tell you. Mm-hmm. And so now I know that I have to check in a lot. And checking in can be done in multiple ways. So in the idea of the freedom channels, what I was saying is there's a spiritual connection, which is a higher source connection. And we give, a few different ways to do that in the course. And, you know, many people have a spiritual connection and can check in. So any way you check in and you feel comfortable and trust works. You don't have to do it a particular way.
Yeah.
And then there's the physical channel, which is that physical sensing, which is what most people do call intuition, okay? Which is that knowingness, that like hit. Do you know what I mean? That gut feeling. So that is the physical channel. And then there's also a mental channel with your intuition, with your connection that most people miss, okay? And it's a really important part, because if you're uncomfortable with something and all those stories and limiting beliefs made that story happen, you may get a gut feeling that is way off base, because it's all in line with the habitual habit kind of story negative realm, right? So you're getting hits because of those stories. So if you understand that it's aligning up where you get the truest, most accurate few steps forward, what you need to do first, the very first thing, is get like clear in your mind. Get back to the idea of values. What is it you want to experience? So if you're asking a particular question, right, you want an answer to a particular question, first thing is that you go, what do I want to experience? And then get that like balance and groundedness in you before you do it. Don't start getting hits off all this negative story stuff, because it's going to take you in a direction that's normal, right? Or normal, like we keep going and creating the same things in our life. So get really present to what you want to create in the realm of values, which is the easiest way to get there, right? And then connect in. So now I want to create this. What does my body tell me? What does my gut say, right? And then check in with your higher self, right? Now, eventually, with that practice of checking in with all areas, it becomes more natural and you just start moving. It's like a natural movement. It doesn't have to be this, 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 and this. But that takes many years. I am not completely there, right? I don't just flow, because like I get triggered and I get off, you know, off here and off there. And I just know to bring myself back and center myself before I connect in like that. But that's really like, not many pieces in our work have a goal, you know, other than experiencing life. But this really is to like start just letting that channel flow again. And then life just opens, you know. So does that answer your question about?
No, that does. Yeah, it's this combination of, but getting centered first before connecting up
or connecting in.
Right. And let the mental part be the last part of the equation.
Well, you know, it's funny because it's the first part and the last part.
It's the first
part is, right? You need to quiet it down. Our minds, right? It's always like, I'm constantly, okay, baby, it's okay, you know, because it's constantly thinking it's what it's meant to do, right? It's a creative machine. And if we're not giving it something productive to do, it will be doing what it does, which is looking and trying to figure out and connecting the dots, right? So the values really are the productive thing we give it to do, right? Yeah. Oh, what do I want to experience? So then it goes, oh, I can answer that question, right?
I'll find that for you.
Exactly, right? Instead of going, oh, believe, oh, believe, oh, believe, oh, you go, no, come here. What do you want to experience? And it goes, oh, okay, I can do that, right? So that's how we like calm our mind, and then we can connect in and we can connect up.
You know, Beth, this reminds me of something that happened just last night. I was being very productive yesterday. The day before, I physically was ill with pain. Anyway, I ate something that didn't go well with me. And so I got nothing done. And so yesterday I was so happy I was being productive. And in the evening, I still felt good. I'm like, man, I'm going to keep with this productivity. I'm thoroughly enjoying this value. The internet goes down. And instead of going, oh, crap, there's so much that I need to do, I'm like, well, I really care about this productivity. And I took myself to the kitchen and started being productive in there. You know, my family is being so gracious. They're cooking, they're cleaning, they're shopping. They're supporting me so much.
While you're doing the summit.
While I'm doing this. I mean, if nothing else benefits anyone else, I have benefited to know how much my family loves me and supports me. Oh my word. But I chose to live in my value of productivity in the kitchen. And my husband's like, wow, look at you. And I'm like, no. And then my son, he's like, you celebrate the weirdest things. Because I'm like celebrating that I'm putting dishes in the dishwasher. And I'm like, I believe in finding joy in everything. And I celebrate the smallest things because it's fun. You know, he's like, you make it seem like it's a big deal that you wiped off the counter. I'm like, it is, and it's so fun.
Or it can be, and I'm going to make it fun. You know, it's funny because, again, I love your stories because it really does like illustrate so many things. First, it really does illustrate the power of something so simple as like some words on a paper, right?
Yeah.
There's a values list, and if you pick one, life can change, right? I love that, right? And you get clear about what it is that's important to you and you go for it. And the other thing I just love that you said, and I really do want everybody to hear this, is that most of us have an incredibly high bar of celebration. An incredibly high bar, right? And it's like, it has to be earth-shattering before we will celebrate something that's happening in our lives. And it can be as simple and profound at the same time that you go from this, like, what could have been so frustrating and threw you way off your game, like the internet going out during the middle of a summit, and straight into, you know, and I'm sure there was a minute or two where you had to shift, right? And you go, wait, no, productivity. I can still be productive, and go into the kitchen and celebrate that shift, right? That, first of all, that's profound that you were able to shift that quickly.
I'm so proud of myself. I was shocked. I'm like, that was called easy.
This is what I'm saying. But then you celebrated it. And celebration is very important for several reasons. One is that it feels good. And like, we need to feel good more of the time, right? And have that celebration in us and for ourselves. It's just creates something very special in us. And the other reason is we need to celebrate what we see has worked in our lives. Because when we celebrate it, we remember it. How many personal growth books and courses and spiritual things you've learned over the years, right? That you forget you have those tools. You forget you have them. So if you really pay attention to the really small little celebrations in your life and connect the dots to how that happens, you'll remember to use those things. Like, if we don't celebrate them, they just disappear. How many times? Like, you know, something you use that really helps. You know, one of the things that just came back into my life that I forgot how much I loved is tapping, you know, EFT. And I'm like, I love this, you know, so like when you find them again, celebrate them, right? And it helped so much. I just go, why did I stop using this? Well, if you celebrate often enough and make your bar a lot lower for celebrations, you'll have more fun and you'll remember these amazing tools you have and keep using them. So yay for you.
Oh, well, thank you. Oh, Beth, this has been such a joy. It seems like it's been, I think I took the coaching certification 2 years ago.
Are you kidding?
I think it's been 2 years.
That's just amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing.
Yeah. And I was, you know, I got the certification, but I was too scared to renew it, you know, because I'm like, no, it's too scary to try and help people through their stuff. No, no, no.
You know, that's the gift of this course too. And I love it. We've made it a certification. You know, Neil and I always did just personal growth and you know, personal and spiritual growth, but we made it a certification because so many people wanted to use it anyway after they did it. But you take the course as a certification and you get so much for your own life. It really doesn't matter if you use it as a coaching modality or not. I mean, it's up to you because we're so comfortable with that because we see the transformation in people's lives, like their day-to-day lives. So, you know, for you, you know, as soon as it's a calling for you, you can always come back and get your certification.
Right. Yeah. And maybe I'll be to that point sometime, be brave enough. I'm having so much practice in being brave.
That's awesome. We're just thrilled. We're just thrilled.
Anyway.
And please, anybody, like we were saying before, anybody that wants to find out more about it, you'll let them know how.
Yeah, I will put that. I'll reach out to Jennifer Lamprey and
find out how to do that.
Yeah. No, Beth, I appreciate you so much. Oh my goodness. Thank you for your time. I hope that people can see how these kind of thoughts and concepts bring peace and power, and just, I don't know, it's really beautiful and it's very simple. So
love you.
Oh, love you too. And that actually brings, I have one more story to share.
Sure.
I told my husband, I felt like I was trapped and I felt like I was dying, just like so trapped. And it was me trapping myself. And I told Scott, I said, sweetheart, I have got to go have experiences where I feel alive. Mm-hmm. And for right now, that's going to look like me leaving the house to take these classes. We did the retreat in California together, you and I and Jennifer, and there's been other classes I've taken in Utah, and I was able to verbalize that I needed to feel alive. I needed to feel free, to be able to connect with people that make me feel vibrant and bring out that vibrant aspect of me. Because I was just shoving myself down.
And really any time, again, one of the things that I always loved about you and that was so inspiring is that you really, and there's so many of us, right, that we only trap ourselves. We blame it on all these.
Blame it elsewhere. It's all here.
And we do. And again, it's cultural, but everything is here. And I watched you over and over and over again, like finding ways to see what it was inside of you, keeping you stuck, and using what was there for you to use to keep opening and blossoming. And I'm just, on a regular basis inspired by who I watch you be.
Oh, thank you. And it was, my husband trusted me enough in my values that I have set that our marriage would always be safe. That, anyway, it was just like, he knew I would never cross any lines with, and most of these classes didn't have men in it. The Quickening had 3 guys there, which actually helped my growth with healing my men issues, my father issues. And they were all godsends, to me, there.
But what I watch too is that you're in communication. And that's really the important part. Like when you're learning something new and you have an intimate partner with you, to just stay in communication and because they're going to see changes in you and get scared, right?
Yeah.
What do those changes mean for our relationship? And if you can really just stay in communication, then the flow and the transformation happens so much easier.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. But anyway, well, I would like to say goodbye to our audience. I hope that you have a day filled with peace and love and laughter, and that you contemplate these thoughts and write down some things that you can apply. And Beth, thank you so very much for your time. I love you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.